Welcome back to Comic Book Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw, and it is Super Bowl weekend. Go Birds! Go Birds! Let's go Eagles! Eagles!
Oh, wow. Someone
All
who
right.
actually cares about the teams.
Yeah, we got that out of the way. I have to do that. We got to stay on
I don't
brand.
think anyone else cares about who's playing.
Girl, this is a big rivalry. This is a lot of people.
We are a Eagles household this week.
People. We are taking on the evil empire, and we are going in. We are the young upstarts.
I mean, that's fine
We
with
are
me
the-
because I'm not
the young.
Taylor.
We could get deeper with it, but this is not that podcast. This is not Sports Nation. We are Comic Book Nation. So the sports things we will leave out of it. I just got to support my team. Connor Casey's no longer here, but he would be on some Chiefs nonsense. So shout out to him since he's not on this platform anymore. Shout out to him. Boo.
Rich
Boo.
jumps in. Boo the Chiefs.
Yeah, here
Love
we
it.
go. So, all right, enough
Love
sports
it.
talk. Let's get to what we got because it was a big week. Because with the Super Bowl, I mean, these things are inexorably tied. The nerd jock ties are inescapable. Because with the Super Bowl, we got Super Bowl big trailer drops. So today we are going to talk about that little trailer Marvel put out for the Fantastic Four. We got to talk about a new Jurassic World. And who knew? But Invincible Season 3 is back. So we got to talk about that. Off the bat. Yeah, you like that? You like that? Off the bat, I got to tell you right up front, I know we do regular TV check-ins, and I said we had one for Severance this week. Something big is happening in Severance this week. I had to shut down all media. I haven't seen it yet. I had to sleep, guys. I'm sorry. I had to sleep.
Oh,
If you
thank
wanna
God.
know,
I'm still not
I
caught up.
slept on the floor in front of my TV last night, if you want to know. I needed a hard floor. I really did. It was a weird sensation. I needed flat. Am I the only one? Anybody out there ever need like a night like where you need like a flat surface like a
Yes,
floor?
I do yoga like daily. So yes, I have to lay on the flat, hard floor to help my back because I'm new to this carrying around heavy children thing.
Oh man, yeah, your IT band is everything. Yeah. Oh, yo, you strengthen up that yoga. Do those. I'm serious. Do those legs in the air.
Yes, flip it
thing
over.
side.
Absolutely.
Lean him to the side of the 45 because the next phase when he starts learning how to walk, that's where you get half your life. You'll be crunched over like a simian. You'll be like half reaching to the floor at all times. It's crazy. And you're basically doing like squat walks around the house all day, avoiding
I'm
disaster.
ready.
Yeah, but I know you're always you're doing the physical training.
Yep.
You underestimate the physical training aspect of young infant to toddler parenting. It's crazy. You gotta. All my workout themes were like themed after jumping at things that I had to catch, sliding, rolling, grabbing off the floor. A lot of
Parkour.
grabs. Parkour. Oh yeah, a lot of parkour. Parkour. A lot of there. Man, Giants fans in the comments. Yeah, we know Giants fans. You can't root for us, but you should root for Saquon.
That hurts.
I'm literally not looking forward to this at all. But that's another conversation. But man, I'm not looking forward to the Super Bowl. But I am. Should I get started on our first topic?
Yeah, get me out of this spiral because I'm going to just keep talking sports trash.
I know.
Take control
Sports
of
and
the show.
children. Love it. Okay, so you guys, we are very excited about the new Fantastic Four trailer that dropped. This has beautiful imagery of like a retro aesthetic. There's lots of predictions that maybe we're going to have a little Fantastic Four baby in the mix. There's a lot of opinions about Pedro Pascal with a mustache. There's a lot of opinions on the Thing and how the CGI is looking. There is so much to take in from this trailer. I think the overall thing is that like you could sit down and break down this thing for like 2 hours if you wanted to. Overall impressions, I'll go first. I'm okay. I watched this live on stream and I couldn't hide the look on my face. I was just confused. I was like, wait, hold on. This is such a departure from anything in the MCU. Like it feels like a Disney Plus show to me because it's just so different. And how is it going to connect into our current timeline and all of our happenings and our era? Like, this is in the 60s. I'm very, very, very confused. On its own, I think it's, oh my gosh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, this is stunning to look at. I love so many different effects. I'm just so into the concept and everything, but it feels like it has nothing to do with Marvel for me at the moment. And so that is my biggest takeaway, is that I'm excited to see how this fits into the MCU, how it fits into our current timeline, and what they're going to do with timey-wimey, wibbly wobbly things. Yes. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on the trailer?
I mean, I think exactly everything you hate is everything I love about this.
Same.
I think that the MCU, the MCU's been, I was talking over my 6-year-old son, and even he was admitting, because he's now like at the age where we finally let him sit down and watch Infinity War and Endgame, because he wanted to really see it after a while. And, he's watched everything else, and we're like, all right, dude, we'll sit down. So after watching with him once, he's now sits down and watches them all the time. And so, yeah, he was even had to admit, like, some of the movies, he's like, yeah, I don't really like anything like after Endgame. And I was like,
my God,
kind of
look at
trash.
this guy.
Since
Opinions.
yeah, oh yeah, his little
I
opinion.
love that.
But he's just like, yeah, it hasn't been as strong. But he doesn't really get that because he loves What If. And like now,
Yeah,
he finally clicked into Neighborhood Spider-Man, and so he's loving like the animation. But none of the movies have gripped him. Like none of the new heroes have gripped him. He's not like, yeah, give me 10 rings and stuff. I can never. Eternals got too spicy, so I can't show him that. It's been rough, and nothing's connected to anything. So I think this had to do the job of selling us on a new world. Like, we know we're in the multiverse. We know this is a different reality. So I think this kind of selling us, this whole trailer is a sell. It's a concept sell, right?
She is so pregnant. Sorry.
Yeah.
The way that she's walking, I just can't.
You would recognize this best of all.
Yes,
if you just did this. So like,
and what a great acting she did. Like, she's subtly showing that she's preggers.
Well, I don't even think it's subtle. Like, people like New Rock Stars, if you've watched any of these like videos, we think this is Marvel CGI. Like, we think that that she's actually wearing a pregnancy prosthetic, and they just CGI'd. Because if you look at the way her body's moving, like you said, like you can see the way she's
walking.
Turning. Obviously,
it's the hobble, man. I know that hobble well.
Yeah, see, and like. And so the whole theory is that what we're seeing, because this like old retro camera frame before it widens out, that this is a retro TV like lifestyle documentary kind of thing about them, because she's pregnant. Like, the world's biggest superhero is about to become a mom, and she's pregnant, and that's why they're doing this slice of life. Like, we're normal, we have family dinners, everything at 7. Is because, they're famous already. So like, what's the point of this scene? Why are they saying all this? Is like, because they're about to welcome a baby, and there's probably concerns. Can you be superheroes? Can you be superheroes and a family? Like, that's probably like where this story is going. And, it's going to probably get pretty serious as for how it connects. I think we know how, and I think that's not going to be like some huge surprise. The details of this world will be a surprise. Like, what else is going on in this world? Like, what is this retro reality? What did the Fantastic Four do to become these heroes? Who is it that they are there to stand against? Besides, obviously, like Galactus, who comes into this, but like, who else is around this world? Because they're not just on this world alone. So is there a Doom here? Like, what's that about? Like, so all of that is kind of hanging in the wings. And the people have pointed out, and I think rightly so, this looks like a happy-go-lucky trailer, but it's not. It's very much not. Like, there's this little undercurrent to all of this that is about something kind of perilous or epic about to change in the lives of these people who have been superheroes. Yeah,
it's like an eerie kind of, like, it reminds me of Fallout, where like everything just seems perfect and lovely, and then like something's just gonna hit real bad.
Yeah.
This comment, oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. What did you say? Interstellar meets Wall-E meets Hogwarts.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, so I was just intrigued by how smart of a trailer it is. I think for me, the thing that it really sold was Matt Shackman, who's been great at directing things for a while now, and is one of those Russo brother finds, because he was also like the Russo brothers in the 2000s and 2010s. He helped make some of your favorite kind of TV sitcoms. Like Matt Shackman was one of the big people who transformed It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia into a major hit show, like around season 5, 6, 7, the ones that people really like were like, oh, that's where that show like really locked in, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so he did WandaVision and helped do all that. So like, I think this sold me on the fact that he can direct a big screen blockbuster movie, because this does feel like that. I was kind of surprised. My eye went up when you said it felt like a Disney Plus show, because this is like the first thing that I've seen these latest trailers from Marvel. At least I can say I don't know how this slate of films is going to do this year, but I can say that at least the trailers for Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and this have at least to me felt like movies, like actual cinematic movies. So I saw a lot in this trailer that makes me think it is going to be like, yeah, Disney Plus would never give us this level of thing with the rock sound effects.
No,
and
it's just such a departure from our classic.
Oh yeah,
movie. That's what I mean. And that's what they're doing
no
on
doubt.
Disney Plus. You know,
Oh,
they're
see
getting
what you,
funky with it over there.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I should clarify. This is a stunning looking.
Yeah, it's the
film.
stylistic kind of
and it looks
risk that they're
expensive.
taking.
Yeah. Really quick, does anyone else think that Joseph Quinn kind of looks like Freddie Prinze Jr. with blonde hair?
Oh man!
In the scene where he falls down from up high, watch his little face. Think Freddie Prinze Jr.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I see it a little bit.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah.
Oh, it's so. I've watched this way too many times. Clearly.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's pretty good.
I see it.
I mean, the thing, Eben Boss Bacharach as the thing, and the things look like easily the best thing we've gotten on screen already. They're kind of putting that down. I know people are talking about the eyes and stuff like that, but it's a real person's eyes inside of a rock form, and that's what it looks like to me. So I'm good with that.
But it like looks like the actor because of the eyes.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to. You never or. Nobody in the history of film is ever going to take away Eben Moss Bacharach's like eyes. Like we're keeping those guys. That's why we hire the dude in part. He can do a lot with those big blue eyes. We're gonna make him work those. Yeah, we're not getting rid of those. Like, come on, man. Think like a producer.
Matt, what are your thoughts on everying?
I know you're so quiet and I'm so scared over there. Like, I have no idea.
No, I'm letting. There was a lot to. Sorry, there's a family stuff going on the other side.
Oh
no. So number one, I will say that anyone who's been with us for, I feel like probably even over the last like year or two and listen to stuff, knows I'm not the biggest Fantastic Four person. I never have been.
Matt hates Reed.
I hate Reed. Reed's the worst. All right.
I want to write a comic that
I want to know about the stash.
We should write a comic that teams up Reed Richards and Beast.
Yeah, like
a Beast.
Like, they're tied. They're tied for worst. I will say Beast has had a little bit of a rehabilitation project, which is good. Just good. Good on Jed McKay to make him semi-likable again, right? That's good. He had to wipe his memory. Anyway, whatever. We're not going to get into that. So Reed
I wish you were here last week for the Cyclops talk. I really do.
Oh my God. I heard, yes. I was so happy. There was so much great.
All right. I'm getting you off topic. Go ahead. Cook.
So, but I've never been the biggest Fantastic Four fan. Not that there haven't been good runs and things like that. I've even given several a shot. I actually think one of my favorites is actually the Marvel Knights run, if anyone remembers that. But I've tried and they've just I've never gravitated towards this team. Which is funny because over the last 3 months, between Marvel Rivals making me like an Invisible Woman main in my healing.
She's notorious in that game, man. It's crazy.
They have and there are some thoughts out there of like Marvel Rivals still to me actually has the best thing design, redesign, character design. That design rules. This is a very close second though, because I love this design for the Thing. It's, you know, it's human. It's still this kind of big, superpowered rock person, but it still feels human. It feels like there's a real presence underneath, right? So that's important. But I've never been a giant fan. So I'm looking at this, and one of the reasons, and Kofi touched on it before, was that a lot of the things that set this apart from what Marvel's done before are actually the things that I like about it. It doesn't feel, number one, yet burdened by all the continuity mess that is the MCU at times, especially over the last year and a half. It also feels like it's not trying to overdo all that stuff and bring in all those elements. It feels as of right now uncomplicated. It's dealing with this group of 4 and their family and that world, and so it feels very different and unique, and I'm all about that right now. I like the sheen, right? The retro vibes. I'm digging that. I like that there does seem to be complexities and depth underneath that. I also am going to be, I'm going to be the reason, by the way, that there is a ton of Herbie merchandise, because I will buy every single piece of it. I need all the Herbie merch. Okay.
No, I need a real Herbie. I need like an actual Herbie. We're there already with everything we got going on. All this AI. I just played AI Pictionary with my family last night. Like, come on, man. Give me a real Herbie.
I need a real Herbie, but I really dig this. I like, especially as a first impression. I just like the interactions between Sue and Johnny and Ben and Reed and just the vibe. This is, you know, this teaser trailer's right, supposed to set a vibe, supposed to set a tone. I think this did really well. I was super I couldn't even say I was kind of in the middle as far as like my hype meter for this. I was curious more than excited. And now I feel like those scales are starting to move closer together. I'm starting to get more excited for the movie and for these characters as opposed to just curious. And so I think that's good. And I think as more trailers come and as we get closer, that'll probably edge out. And that's where you want to be, especially for someone like me, who is probably closer to a lot of mainstream people, as you know, they don't really know or care about this team. And so you got to draw them in. You got to draw them in as much as the hardcores, right? So it's important. So off to a great start for me.
Yeah. Wow. Woof. We never know how we're gonna go with these things. Janelle, the biggest MCU fan here, the least excited out of all of us.
I'm just cautious.
No, that's not a dig. No, I don't want to throw you with some weird Star Wars trolls coming for you. That's not. We're all liking this. It's just I would thought you'd be the like.
I know, because I was such a WandaVision fan, and people are saying that they're like, "What? What do you mean? Like you love WandaVision is like your second favorite show?" I know. I don't know. I don't know these characters. I'm not as familiar, so I don't have that like, you know, fandom pulling me in, and I'm so excited about Thunderbolts. I just can't even, like, honestly, nothing is hitting that level of excitement for me.
Me too. That's still my top. I mean,
yeah.
Just because it's the thing. Like,
it's also our
trailer.
Familiar, like,
this trailer did a lot, but one thing it didn't do that Thunderbolts really has done is just made me believe in the power of actors acting.
Yeah.
Like, just like, yeah, them just doing their thing and bantering with each other, or the physical choreography of them all fighting in that room and stuff like that. Like, that's the stuff that hooked me. I didn't see some epic CGI sequence or, you know, Dr. Buttathon didn't jump out and it's like, oh, now I have to see this movie because they have secret MCU twist or something like that. It's like I see Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan and David Harbour and Wyatt Russell, like all arguing, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus like talking trash to all of them, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. Like, just seeing
that
them all
feels
play
magical
with each other.
MCU
like,
to me.
And
like
that's. Yeah, I want to see that.
Doesn't seem like the MCU. Also, like I have a couple friends that are super fans of Fantastic Four from the comics, and they are very hypercritical of this. And so I just kind of like follow the lead of my my pals that are like, I don't, like they still don't like Pedro Pascal in that casting as Reed, and that I'm just kind of like being influenced by those around me at this point, and that's okay with me. But like free thinking, me being my own self, I'm excited for Thunderbolts.
That car is awesome.
Oh, the car is gorgeous. Someone said it's like the Jetsons. Like it feels kind of like the Jetsons.
Oh yeah,
live action.
Totally Jetsons.
Oh
like,
yeah,
and
that's cool.
We didn't even, by the way, talk about Galactus.
Oh my God, you're right. Well, we
didn't even mention the giant shadow head.
I think there's still some designs we gotta. They're gonna polish because they know like they didn't make Reed stretch in this, right? So we know that like we are not getting that part. We also got to see Ralph Ineson as Galactus and have his face like superimposed over that head thing and not have that MODOK effect. You know what I'm saying? So like, make sure we get those right, work those out, do what you got to do. Like, but no, I like this. I think Pedro Pascal, like, you gotta push that vehicle. No, the Fantastic car is going to be that. I mean, I want a Fantastic car. I'm getting my kids a Fantastic car, especially if it transforms into like you pretend fly it and all that stuff. Like, please, I'll be the first one playing with that. No, but Pedro Pascal. We also don't know what like they cast him for. Like, we don't know the arc of Reed Richards in this. There could be some crazy stuff we get to see Pedro Pascal do. If there's a maker element to this, at all, and also this is like, what Reed is this? This is Reed who's kind of like established, but entering like a new phase of being a father, which is where Reed can get like really kind of crazy, right? Like, what are we gonna do? Like, my whole question is like, what happens at the end of this? We know what's gonna happen. We know they're gonna either lose their world or have to abandon it. That's the part that I'm trying to make trying to zero in on. I have an article that's kind of gaining steam on the site. It's about the line that Sue Storm says about like, whatever comes next, we're going to face it as a family. Because if you put together the story of this trailer, there's a lot of clues in it. Reed's talking about like that whole speech. He's saying like the first time we went into space, Ben wasn't a rock. So this is them having at some point to go into space to do something that they're not sure they're going to walk away from. Like, and Reed's obviously traumatized because, Sue's pregnant, and the last time they probably went into space, it didn't go so hot. They all got things, and how Reed is. Things went wrong, and he probably carries that. He's probably kind of being really Reedy about that. And so the question is like, what happens? Do they have to stop Galactus and they get knocked out of their own universe to do that? Does something happen in their universe? Do they lose and their universe gets like wiped out and they have to save themselves, or Reed has to do something to like save themselves? And what kind of situation does that create between them when they're on the lifeboat? Because that is a major part of Secret Wars, and that you could remix the whole lifeboat idea and like what Reed does. There's a lot going on here that we still don't know about. Like, it's going to be kind of crazy at the end, and like what this story does and where it leaves this family is going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
it is.
I'm excited. You're actually building the hype for me, so thank you.
Also, I will say I do love that how we are approaching the origin story here. We are not getting, from we're starting before the ship, and like that is my preferred method of origin story these days. Okay, let's tighten that up, and I like it when we just zip through and we can build through flashbacks or whatever. But like,
I better only see falling pearls in the title sequence. You know what I mean?
Yes,
yeah. The title, do it James Bond style. Get your AI bots out and show me a pistol that shoots out a name, and then it becomes falling pearls, and and that's the only time. And then they turn into roses in an alleyway and a shadow of a bat jumping away. Like, that's the only time I need to see that again. Some weird Bond style title sequence. Uncle Ben, I never need to see Uncle Ben die again. Like, we're good, man. Like,
there's certain characters, man. Like, okay, yes, if Luna Snow gets her movie, obviously you got to build from an origin story, because no one knows, like, other than like a pocket of people know who that character is. Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, right? Like those characters, everyone knows the origin story. Even if you don't know comics, you know what happened. We don't need to replay those. Fantastic Four, pretty close. Everyone knows, a lot of people know, not everybody, but a lot of people know the ship and the space thing and all that. So still highlight it, still work it in, but we don't need a whole movie that takes us through that entire thing again. I'm glad we're here. I think this is smart. So.
All right, I think we did the thing. Right? I think we said, anybody, any closing statements?
No, I'm excited to talk about this next topic.
Okay. Jurassic World Rebirth. Talk about things that have suddenly gone from 0 to 100 on my hype meter.
Yeah.
I was nowhere near like excited for this until that Vanity Fair article. That Vanity Fair article might be one of the best pieces of PR. So shout out to Universal's team. Shout out to Vanity Fair, because that was one of the best pieces of PR I've ever seen in recent years, to go from like out of nowhere to having this whole rollout plan this week with the trailer for the Super Bowl, a feature piece in Vanity Fair saying, yo, and making a focus to tell people like, yo, we getting scary again. We're getting dangerous again. Like we're going back to that original Jurassic Park. I've told this story a million times. I'll tell it just the brief recap about how Jurassic Park, one of the things that happened to me in my life was I was at my best friend's birthday and we were at a birthday party and I was full of soda and like I couldn't leave that movie, because you couldn't leave that movie. You know, you couldn't leave for a pee break during Jurassic Park. There was just so much going on. So like when Laura Dern's character has to go restart the power and that raptor jumps through the wall, like that jump scare nearly made me pee my pants. I had to get up and run to the bathroom and pee like really quick. And it was like in this old theater in our neighborhood. It was one of those theaters that was a stage and had intermissions for birthday parties where they did like show, you know, one of those old school theaters. I came back as fast as I could to finish the movie, but by then it was too late. We were in middle school. So the entire middle school forever, the lore was that Jurassic Park was such a scary movie that Kofi Outlaw had gone running from the theater, never to return. And that was like my legacy for Jurassic Park for like the rest of middle school. It was,
man.
Yeah, but it's all to say, I'm so happy that could happen to me again as a 40-year-old adult. Maybe somewhere in this, you know, the press screening, if this movie's good enough, I might have to get up and use the bathroom again. And then, you know, people are going to be like, I remember when Jurassic World Rebirth came out and Kofi had to go running from the theater. Because this looks like we're getting back to that vibe. And I'm so happy about that, right? Like the survival horror element of Jurassic Park is something I think we lost, because after that, these movies have never really been able to get back to pure genre. They're always referencing Jurassic Park constantly. They're always reminding us like, hey, we're Jurassic Park, or they become about the spectacle of the dinos or action stunt sequences or all this other stuff. But Gareth Edwards, one of my favorite directors for a long time, he directed this movie Monsters, Rogue One, Godzilla, The Creator most recently. Like, this was what he was always meant to be doing. Like, this is a perfect fit for him. After he directed Monsters, I got to talk to him at New York Comic Con. The man's like a genre genius. He knows how to take big. First of all, he's one of those whiz kids on computers who can make his own movie like on a computer, like totally, and make you like Neil Blomkamp. He's from like those school of like directors. That's why The Creators like got nominated for all those Oscar effects about that cybernetic future and stuff. But he's just really good about making things indie style, but feel like blockbuster scope and size. And that's what you want, because there will be an actual story to this. And it's simple, great, simple genre story. Team of specialists going to get McGovern from this thing that, if you read the original Jurassic Park novel, was a big part of the first part of the novel, was the test site where they developed the dinosaurs before they moved them into a park. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. And so like, we're finally getting to go there, and yeah, these are like super mutant dinos, and boom, we're in. We don't need any crazy cloning. You know, we already are going to get a clone mutant hybrid, but like, We don't need any of this other Jurassic World Dominion crap and all of that stuff. It's just
that looks so good too.
They get on and they straight up tell you they get on the island, and then that scene you see with the dinos in the water is the first act. They're trying to leave, can't leave, and then you got to survive. So I'm in. And you got like some of the best actors: ScarJo, Mahershala, Jonathan Bailey's a great actor, the guy playing the nerdy doctor, and like what else? And then you got some characters who can get eaten. So great.
Can I say I'm this actually makes me not as disappointed by the Blade delay, because didn't he go do this? He joined this cast while all that mess was going on, and that's what really spiraled people into being like, oh, Blade's in trouble because he's just signed on to go do the Jurassic movie. And everyone was like, what? And seeing him in his trailer, I'm like, good choice.
I hope Scarlett was there. I hope Scarlett helped and was just out there smoking a cigarette like, nah, son, come do this thing. We're going to get this Jurassic money. Don't let Marvel
you got time.
Trip you up. Yeah.
You got time. Don't let Marvel trip you up. To figure that out.
Yeah. I know how this game goes. Come get this Jurassic money.
Good, man.
Yeah, it
this
does.
Looks like I am jazzed about this. Number one, there's one line in the trailer that sold me. It's literally just the line where they establish, hey, this is where all the dinosaurs that were too dangerous for that park, they lived here. And it was like, boom. And they were in that dark space. And then you see that new one that's like coming up against the glass, and the orange and stuff looks actually a little bit terrifying. The raptor thing is always funny to me. You know, tell me it's not raptors. No, it's raptors. You know, it's always it's great. ScarJo is very much giving like kind of classic action hero vibes in this. The crew that they've assembled is very much, it feels almost like straight out of in a good way, like straight out of like an 80s 90s action movie, but obviously given like a modern sheen, right? And that's to me the perfect combination for what you want in a survival horror themed Jurassic movie. Like you need a group that's kind of bringing that vibe. So I was not excited. I wasn't even not excited. I just didn't even really know enough to get excited about this movie. And now, I'm in on this. This looks great.
It's because the last one, we had like the world meets the park characters. And that didn't even hit. Like we all watched it and we were like, yeah, that was a movie. There were people in it. And it was just like, okay. But we had reached that level of just referential eating ourselves that like, that's the problem with this thing. The actual story of this is really interesting. It's like 5 years after Dominion and all that stuff, went out in the world, and, dinos have largely kind of fallen off. They're not like, they didn't thrive and survive. They either got hunted or just kind of like have been fallen off, and people's obsession with them because they became so commonplace also falls off. And so, the world's kind of like moved on, but there is this one pocket place where all these freak dinos have just been hanging out this whole time, just like thriving. So I like that I like that we're kind of doing the Rise of Skywalker, but in a smart way. Like we're just condensing back down all those ideas that the last franchise kind of blew open and it got so out of control crazy. So like, we're going to shrink things back down to just single setting survival horror. Brilliant. Let's do it. I am now hooked in. And I want the kids to be a little scared. Like I'm going to make my kids see this. Like I want them to be a little scared. Like you laugh, but I'm serious. I tell you, every parent, like half our problems with this generation now is like their processing of
they didn't grow up like we did. Scared of everything.
Yeah, exactly. No, but like the healthy amount of both, like you realize like we didn't just have fear, but like our parents just like let us out in the world. Like Saturday was like go out and play and be home by dinner. And we did all kinds of stuff. You had to survive, like either fighting other kids on a playground or just dodging the creeps of life or not getting hit by a car or just like whatever it was. Like you had to survive all that, and you were kind of on your own. Like and your parents were just like be home by dark because then things get really weird. And
I don't think I was scared of like monsters underneath my bed or anything because of these films. Like my favorite movie of all time was The Labyrinth. That is a very twisted movie.
Goonies, Labyrinth. Even things like ET gets like intense, like in
Oh,
that
it's
third
weird.
act.
Yeah, it's
Like,
creepy.
Never
yeah.
ending story.
Never ending.
For me.
Oh yeah, never ending
Never-ending
story. Like
story,
people,
yes.
this generation
So
is
sad.
just TikTok just discovered the Atreyu thing, like the never
What?
ending story scene. Yeah, and they're like
Oh, God.
traumatized.
Oh my
And
god.
we just wake up, we're
That-
like,
that is
holy
kind of
trauma for
fun.
breakfast. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
To
know?
watch those come back around is kind of
Yeah.
fun. Like but half the time I'm mad because
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you just discovering that? But then
Agreed.
the other half, I'm like, it entertains me. It's like it's like all those reactors who were discovering like 90s hip hop for the first time now.
Oh my god, yes.
I'm half mad half the time of like, what?
But-
How are you just listening to
That they're
geez, how are you just
pretending,
listening to Tupac for the first time? But then I'm entertained by the sheer shock and just like it's great. But yeah, some of that stuff's coming back around, right? Yeah, Princess
Everything's
Bride clips are
timeless
all
now.
over TikTok now.
It's crazy. Everything's timeless now because like it doesn't matter. It's just whenever it hits our attention span. I think we went on a rant on the last podcast about like streaming, and I was saying like, yeah, oh yeah, I was listening back to it. Yeah, about how we just need to go back to Netflix and their licensing deals, and everything's new whenever it just hits Netflix.
Yep.
Like that's when everything's new and hot. It doesn't matter if it's a series that's 20 years old or a movie that came out 2 months ago.
So true.
It's all new on Netflix. We're all gonna be watching, Alien Romulus in Suits, So,
Oh man,
like,
Suits LA, baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, everything's timeless. My kids, in the last year, both my kids have respectively been obsessed with Beverly Hills Troop and the Lohan Parent Trap.
Oh wow, that's good though.
man.
Good choices.
Beverly
Yeah,
Hills
well, I
Troop.
mean, that's
wow,
my wife.
That's nice.
That's Allison's indoctrination. But I was like, I can't believe that took. Like,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Pippi
And I'm like,
Longstocking.
so yeah, they don't,
Yeah.
and they have no idea about time. They're just like, oh, I like this movie. This is a great movie. I want to watch it again. And I'm like, man, this movie's like from 1980.
I watched The Elephant Man when I was a kid. And
my god!
And that forever left an impression on me. I was like a kid crying.
Steel Magnolias
oh my god,
is
why are
really
they so
sad.
mean to him?
Oh, Steel
Steel
Magnolia.
Magnolias. My
because
mom
that
was my
takes such a
mom's favorite
turn.
movie, and she would force me to watch it all the time.
I was babysat by an old black lady who watched a lot of TV. To think that's how I got into this business. So because I watched every classic movie, I just like sat there and watched a ton of stuff with her. But yeah, man, that takes such a turn.
Mhm.
Like when Allie was pregnant, that's all I could think about was that stupid movie. I was like, oh my
Mhm.
god, everything because I was just
Mhm.
everything
It's
she did
upsetting.
afterwards. I was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do that, don't do that. I was like sliding in, grabbing everything for her. I was like, don't grab anything. Steel Magnolias. So I guess our generations, yeah, we're doing okay. We're okay.
Yeah,
we're
we're
fine.
alright,
Like
sort of.
we're great.
Kind of.
Hey, this is
Oh,
us
man,
starting
can I
a whole
ask
revolt
you-
against toasters.
Oh
So,
man,
whatever.
All right, we got to move on. But
We should slide
but
into-
seriously, question is: have you guys started your savings fund for July? Because in addition to family vacations, you must save for quite a few movies. We will be doing Jurassic World Rebirth, Thunderbolt, and Superman. That's a good. I mean, that's a good car payment right there.
Weren't
That's
we
a good car
supposed
payment.
to get like screen or aren't we supposed to go to premieres or something? I'm just kidding.
I mean, we might.
Gone
I
are
mean, that
those
is some
days.
kind of hookup.
Wow.
I
Gone are
hope you
those
guys are
days.
gonna. They better have one hell of a film festival event and like a Marvel DC Peace Union event at Comic-Con this year, where they just show us all this stuff. Just roll it, throw
Yeah.
Jurassic in there. Just
Oh,
I'll sit in Hall
F4 is in
H
July.
for 6 hours or 7 hours and watch 3 films. I can do that. You think I
Mhm.
can't? All right. Jurassic World Rebirth shot up to the top of our hype list. I gotta go back and listen to what we did. Anybody put this on their hype list for this?
Not
year?
even kind of.
Not even
no.
close. Not even kind of. Not even pretending, huh?
No.
All right.
I
let's
honestly,
take-
I just keep forgetting that it even existed, but now I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It makes me. Oh, Matt, I gotta say. Final thought, and we're gonna move on. But yeah, I'm kicking myself that we didn't get a ScarJo Lara Croft all of a sudden. Like I think we really kind of screwed that one up.
That would have. Oh, that would own.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
just do it
kinda-
now.
No, I mean just like let her play. Just like, let's rock. If she survives this one, let's just keep rocking with whatever she's doing in this.
That's true. That's fair. But
That's
like,
a good fit.
Yeah,
right.
no, that would have owned.
Yeah, I think this was the audition tape. I was like, okay, Scarlett. Even at this age, you're looking all right. We're going to take a break real quick. Then we're going to shift over to TV. We got to talk about the return of Invincible, plus check in with some of our favorite genre TV shows. Got to get into comics. Plus, we didn't see Matt last week because he was out doing stuff, and he has a whole Matt's agenda to fill you in on. Stay tuned. This podcast is
brought to you by, just kidding,
Invincible. I wanted an Invincible title drop, but we don't have one.
It sounded like you're going to a commercial. I'm like, oh man, we got.
I know. I was very confused.
All right, so a couple things. Yeah, done. Damon Gray, super fan Damon Gray, is in the comments of the live stream is right. I screwed up my Marvel movies. July, we have to pay for Fantastic Four, Superman, and Jurassic World Rebirth. Thunderbolts is in May. So that's still money. I mean, that's even like more guaranteed money you got to spend, and even more chance you're gonna be
May. You're welcome.
And for people like me, it's even more of a chance you're going to be paying those family prices to see this stuff. It's not just like me seeing this anymore. Yeah, at least 2 of those movies I'll be paying family prices for. So yeah, we're approaching car note prices for July. So that's in addition to family vacation. So, oh man, I gotta start saving. Oh god. All right. So Invincible is back. I didn't know. I did not remember this was happening until I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw, shout out to the Invincible social team, I saw a funny meme that they posted of like Nolan, a drawing of Nolan sitting back in his chair and then sitting up because the season was here. And I was like, oh man, that's right. I got to get back into this. Now I'm having a big challenge right now with this whole streaming shows, how many there are, the delays, you know, the value of keeping up with them. But I will say Invincible got me again, man. 3 episodes. I was like, okay. Invincible pulled me back in. I can already feel this season is heads and tails above the kind of sophomore character building season. Like all the stuff. I'm impressed by the amount of things that we even thought were small in season 2 that already seem like they're going to lead places. Like we even get callbacks to like the Lizard League still, which was like such a little aside until that crazy episode where we thought half our heroes got murdered, and then like now we're still having callbacks to that. Callback, bringing things back like the Mauler twins after we were like, what happened to them last season? Like, and then to get them back and stuff like, and what happens there. We're already cooking with gas, and I can feel the momentum. There's already some big shifts. I like the Batman character, like guy being more of a focus. The show, you get it now, like the comic and the kind of the level of that the comic was working on with the lore and all of that, and the time that it takes to build that, but why you do that in the payoff that you begin to get. And I think it's a testament that this 3rd season has 3 episodes. And the thing we are saying about, I don't have to say about, like I said, about the 2nd season coming off the 1st. I'm not saying about this season yet, which is like, I'm not in a rush to be like, where's Nolan? And I'm only caring when Nolan's on the screen. Again, when Omni-Man's on the screen is the only time I feel like the show has momentum. Now it's become something different. There's momentum when Mark starts to get pissed off at Cecil. That whole thing is tense. That's scary. Like, for different reasons. You're scared that Mark could flip. It's Oliver being in the mix adds this whole other element to it that is, crazy and chilling by the time we get to the third episode. And we're dealing with some of that. And so, yeah, man, I'm now sucked into the world of Invincible. They got me. As soon as I thought I was out, they grabbed me, dragged me back in.
Janelle?
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't really excited about this. It's just I kind of fell off because it was just getting so I felt like they were being like disgusting and like gory just for the sake of being that way. I felt like they were just trying to be shocking. In this new season, there's like purpose behind it and it hits a little better. It's not just like being gory for gory's sake, just for attention. It feels like this actually is like impactful when they are showing like the gore, like skin melting off of bodies and things. I was not super convinced. I was like on my edge. I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to continue watching this, but I'm going to give it the 3 episodes. And so I'm in the middle of the 3rd episode. And that is the episode that really got me. The opening sequence of episode 3 is just really heart-wrenching. And whoever did the score, like the music was absolutely just so impactful and like, painful. So yeah, I'm back on board too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Just when you thought you were out.
Yeah. Pull you back in. I love Cecil's backstory too.
Yes.
Yeah, this Cecil episode.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this show is just like every time you start delving into the characters, like it's just like it's crazy. Like everybody gets fleshed out,
which is like Creature Commandos.
Yeah,
they did
but
that.
like it is hard to. I love that we're in a place now where nobody's like completely a good guy and nobody's completely like wrong or a bad guy. Like I shared that meme that is like it hits so hard right now. Just we can be the good guys or we can be the guys that save the world. We can't be both.
Yeah, that's a line. That's definitely a choice.
Yeah.
That line. That was honestly what's crazy is Nolan to me is the least important part of this whole thing right now.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's fantastic. That means everyone else matters. And to answer Alex Gleen's question, yes, I think if you give these first 3 episodes a chance, you can catch up. I mean, they did a recap. You know what I mean? Like do the recap. Because my problem was I gave up midway through season 2. I was like, it took me forever to check back in because of the delay. When they did the whole separating the season and then they came back in the middle of everything else releasing. So I actually hadn't caught up yet. And then when I saw season 3 was going to hit, I was like, oh, okay, I got to go fill in the blanks. Right. So that season 2 as a whole was just not as good as season 1. And so when you look at season 3, even in the first 3 episodes, we have already surpassed season 2. Just in the first 3 episodes, we've already surpassed like the kind of filler, a lot of what felt like filler. There is some great character stuff in there, and they work with that here, but it's just at a different pace. I like it. I mean, the stuff between Mark and the agency could be its own show. And then you start throwing in his personal life. Then you start throwing in all the things with Oliver. Then you start throwing in all the things with Alan. Like there's so much happening, and they still do that thing. Invincible is always really good about packing a lot of details and storylines into, one episode, right? They do a good job of that. You don't really leave an episode of Invincible feeling like, well, nothing happened. Even in the boring ones, a lot of stuff happens. It's just whether it's clicking or not with you. This one, they did a really good job of that. And there's still the crazy brutal sequences, right? They still have those. Multi-Paul especially gets my word, so there is some of that boys energy here, where like something just shocking will happen and it'll be like, okay, what happened there? But I think my issues with The Boys was kind of the same issue as season 2 of Invincible. It was kind of like, okay, it's just shock value for shock value's sake. Where's the actual substance? And here we're starting to get that again. So that makes me happy. Also, I dig the new suit. You know, I dig all this stuff. I mean, we're heading in good directions here. I like it. But it's hard. I would say, like, if we weren't talking about it for the show, right, and it wasn't something that was kind of coming up because of the nature of what we do, I don't know if the delay and the lackluster season 2 and just the sheer amount of everything else that's hitting, I don't know if I would have given this a chance again. Like, it might have been, I discover it a year later on, you know, when I'm just like bored and looking for something to fill the void on streaming. And then I go, oh man, Invincible season 3 really kicked. Like, I do worry that maybe it will lose some audience because just everything. I mean, we just talked about Marvel. Marvel's hitting with like 5 things this year. Right. And those are just all like theater things. I'm not even counting all the streaming stuff. DC's hitting. There's so much happening. I don't know, man. I do worry that like it might get lost in the shuffle, but it's good.
Yeah. No, the 3 episodes were good. But like, yeah, I mean, it's not a great sign that we do this for a living. And all of us this week were like, wait, what?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
whole team of comic book were just like, huh?
Oh
And
no.
like, oh, right.
Alex puts it perfectly. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have even known it was back. Right. That's the point. That's the point. It's like,
Yeah.
it can get lost.
Invincible's got to do its job to kind of regain fan enthusiasm. And the shame was that second half of season 2 kicked enough that if they had just released the whole thing, like the show would have been good. Like we would have been good because that second half with those final episodes with like the Angstrom battle and all of that, like that stuff got crazy deep. So yeah. And the battle on the other planet against the Viltrumite warriors, like that stuff was gnarly. But yeah, I'm glad that we're back to this season, to getting back to what made season 1 great, which is whenever a Viltrumite's in the room, the tension of their power and their violence and keeping that in scope and showing people's reaction to violence, I think was the difference in these episodes. When that kind of like outlandish level of violence happens, having other people in the room being like, wow, that was an outlandish level of violence. Right. Like I can't even comprehend the scope of this person's power. Like, this is nuts. That's the key element here. Like, yeah, those dynamics on a Viltrumite in making even Mark potentially or Oliver potentially always be as frightening as they are heroic is great. Anyway, we're not going to get too deep into this because, the hype level is.
But I feel like we all recommend it.
Oh no,
if you
I
guys
recommend
fell
getting
off
back
with
in.
like us, we recommend it too.
Yeah, like I think this is Invincible comic stands have been in the background just smoking like I'm telling them season 3 is going to be that guest. They don't know if you read the comic, but we hear you. Like we know that there's a lot of fun stuff coming up. All right. So just some quick check-ins. We don't have to go too deep. I've been watching still a little bit of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man with my little man. And I like it. It's cute. They doing some deep cuts. If you bought all 4 of those comic book covers that month for Spider-Man when Peter was trying on different hero identities, this one episode was for you. Like it's fun. Like I don't care. I know there's been all kinds of somehow this goofy Spider-Man cartoon has become a social lightning rod in our wonderful days and times, whether it's the race switching or the whatever is going on with the lead actors' comments and stuff like that, and everybody trying to turn that into something. But it's a cute, fun show. I've gotten used to the animation style. It actually makes, if you turn on motion flow, that cinematic, like that artificial motion flow, it actually really looks good on this show. And yeah, and it's fun. And it's just kind of a fun way of doing Spider-Man that is recognizable to kids who grew up on the MCU, but still different and has that kind of different vibe to it. The episodes are cool. Coleman Domingo, I don't care what you want to say about switching characters, but Coleman Domingo is great as Norman Osborn. Like their
dude.
dynamic
I agree.
as like Norman and Peter as mentor and mentee. I really like. I'm enjoying that, and as a longtime Spider-Man comic fan, so. I mean, I like these new and I like that they're doing batch episodes. I think we underestimate the power of good batch episode releases. Like we've had a couple this week, and it's good. You can pace it out. It's almost like a binge, but you can also pace it out episodically, and I enjoy it. But yeah,
that's a really
I'm not
good
mad at
comparison, Damon. That's a really good. It's like Marvel's version of My Adventures with Superman, which is also excellent, and you should watch. While they are different in their like obviously their animation style and like some amounts of tone, I think they hit a similar niche. Like I think I really did. I mean, if you're not watching My Adventures with Superman, I think that's fantastic. And so Spider-Man, I heard your discussion last week. I really enjoyed y'all's discussion because I was very curious to hear what Janelle thought, because I know she's not a big animation person. But I like to hear that like the feel, the vibe, and like even from the soundtrack bangs on this. Okay, I love the intro sequence. The intro sequence is so good. And the animation did its job. It caught Ember. Like it caught her attention. There's a lot of things on YouTube and things, and she was like, "Oh, what's that? That's Spider-Man." And we watched the trailer. We watched it like 5 times, and then we've watched the show together. And it's like walking that line, right? Because there's okay, for all the parents in the room, right? There's words that I wish they didn't say when I'm watching with her, but they are genuine and like authentic to like the tone that it's giving, and so like I'll just let it slide. Right, there's like words like, yeah, it's fine, whatever, and it glosses right by her, but like it doesn't again just feel like they're throwing in whatever word just because. Like it feels authentic to like who they are, and I like it as an adult, and I enjoy the dialogue and the banter between everybody. I also love that you had Evan on, and Evan's like the fact that we got slingers in a show in 2025, the fact that they brought that concept back is nuts to me, and it's so awesome. Like I hope we get like the Jury. Are we gonna get Solo? We're gonna reach into the back
catalog. You could get Cardiac.
We could get Cardiac in the show. That is actually possible.
Yeah.
They could totally do it. Yeah. I would lose my mind.
No, but
I enjoy the show a lot, man.
It's perfect because, like I said, you're saying you're watching with Ember. I'm watching it with my son, and he's a 6-year-old boy, and that's literally the mentality of this show. Is 6-year-old boys now, like my son thinks he has a whole interior secret life of knowing all these things from other kids or YouTube shorts that I have their entire history because I make them sign in under my profile. So I routinely review what they're watching. And you can't control it because you're just being a cop and cleaning up after the fact, but you're just like, oh my God, because it just helps me keep a roadmap on what I need to field about their knowledge and stuff. But like, yeah, there's an episode in here with Lonnie Lincoln and like what they're doing with that whole thing build up to Tombstone, that slow roll. But like, there's an episode about gangs. And so I had to sit like my son afterwards or even during, because he has ADHD, but like was just like, what are they doing? Like, what's a gang? Like, what does that explain? And so we had to have some real talks, and I don't hate that because it was a good time for me to tell him like never do something just because you think you want friends or to belong. Like, just you got to be independent because this can happen, and look what's happening to this kid now. He has to do all this crazy stuff, and you don't want to be in that. And so like it's good to have, and it's walking that line like Matt said, like it's growing up enough to make kids turn around and like my son say and look at me and be like, "Ooh, they said that," and then be like, and then me be like, "How do you even know what that means?" And him be like, "Ooh," and go back to watching, like just like exactly. And it's walking that line because you do want to do some of that with your kids. You need it to push them a little bit and to kind of initiate things and conversations that you can tell them some version of, so that they get it without having to know the horrors of the adult world. But like. Yeah, it's walking that line. It has the mentality of a 6 to 7, 8-year-old boy, and I kind of dig it. It's funny, and it is funny.
It's funny, genuinely funny. I've laughed several times while we're watching. I was like, "That's good. That's a good line." And I like when he's web swinging. The animation's like soars. I love.
Yeah, the fight sequences are. Yeah, I mean, fight sequences they slap, man. They're pretty good. All right, so wow, who knew? That's a grenade today. Us all pretty high on a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We can skip over.
No, I'm just gonna say Paradise is still that noise. Paradise is every week.
Paradise is great,
Yeah.
but it gives me massive anxiety because I feel like this is actually like happening. That the world's gonna end and they're building
Too close to
something.
real life. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's one of those shows where I'm like, I love this. It's
Yeah.
so good, but I don't want to watch it because it gives me nightmares.
This is not a joke. So, I've told this story about the time I did a set visit for Vin Diesel's movie, The Last Witch Hunter, and it was in a mine outside of Pittsburgh.
Whoa.
And this mine went down for miles. And the first thing we did was meet in this room in this station they had built, because you went into the mine through this sealed steel door that they had let in the code, and it opened, and you drove up a road, and it was a whole roadway system. They had street names, a map. The first thing you got to was this station that was a government style bunker kind of meeting room, conference room, like table, American flag, TV on the wall, like chairs all around it. And then we did that to kind of do the introduction, and then we went down in this mine. Now people park their boats there off season right now. They park them under the mine all season so the boats don't get wear and tear. But no, there was a whole city under here. There was, like I said, a roads, a road map, like every carved out little stations with built-in facilities and all this stuff, electricity, plumbing. Like we went to a cafeteria for lunch, like the whole nine. So this is very real. Like we already have smaller concept versions of this, like all over the place. Like I've been in one. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
one of the best pilots ever. But
yeah, this has been a really good show. But
yeah,
I don't know. I might fall off just because it gives me massive anxiety.
No, we gotta learn from
world.
this. And we gotta make our pitch. If this happens, they're gonna need entertainment.
Yeah,
radio, televised entertainment. Shows.
I can also sing, so
yeah,
we got
we good. Da 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 da. Come in, Book Nation.
Yep.
Yeah, which become the nation.
I can do
it's
Creed karaoke.
Yes,
that helps.
With arms wide open. Sorry.
With arms wide open. Yeah. Oh man, we got it. So we just gotta make ourselves valuable. We're valuable. All right.
And by the way, I'm an idiot. I read half of the comic and then forgot this week to continue reading it.
All right. We're not going to talk about Severance. We're not going to talk about Severance because I haven't gotten to whatever just happened. So everybody stay off my timeline right now. Let's go to Absolute Superman.
Absolute Superman.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, let's talk Absolute Superman.
Oh, I'm so mad that I haven't finished it.
So I'm trying to remember. Okay, so I remember where it kind of cut. If you cut off halfway, I kind of remember a little bit about like where that midpoint is. But okay, so we had talked about in Absolute Superman.
No, that's last week's. If
Okay,
you're watching, there we go. Boom.
If we had talked about Absolute Superman number 3, oh, and by the way, I really enjoyed that conversation, your comics conversation last week too. We had really kind of talked about like this. It took place primarily on Krypton and in the past, and gave kind of these defining moments to like Jor-El and Laurel, and we were like, oh my god, like it really kind of set the tone for that. So then this issue moves into the present and it seeks to do some amazing moments for Lois, just kind of in that same vein. And I was all about it, right? Because I was like, okay, like we're just gonna, I mean, but by the end of this arc, we will have really kind of given these kind of defining quintessential moments to so many of the supporting cast, and largely Superman's still kind of the biggest question mark. Like I understand it at him as a child more than I actually feel like I understand him as an adult, right? And that's by design.
Yeah, I agree.
We haven't really had as many views of him as an adult. We really get a perspective of him in this issue, especially through all of the people he's helped. Like that's the biggest kind of thing, right? Where how everyone's affected by him, all the people, so many of the people he saved, and like the interviews and things. I thought that was just so well put together, giving you a perspective of him.
Yeah.
But we still kind of have the biggest question mark over Clark, Kal-El, like who this person is. And I have to say, like, for me, I'm finding myself more drawn to the past and Krypton and that kind of side of the story more than I am the present.
1,000%. I even forgot. Oh my God. I forgot about the current. I forgot.
Well, yeah, because like to me, like we start to get like Omega Men stuff in here. We obviously, and spoilers coming for things. It's revealed about midway, so I don't think I'll be spoiling it for you, Janelle. But Jimmy Olsen, like we understand, like we get his perspective and where he fits into all this. And this is really a Lois Lane issue to me, and a Jimmy Olsen to a degree, but really a Lois Lane issue to me. And I still feel like I need to see Clark. And I don't have a great idea, or not. I'll even say Kal-El, because really, like Clark is, not really there yet to me. But like Kal-El, I really just feel like I need an issue where it's just him and understanding where he fits into the role now that we have all this other context. So, like, I love this issue for what it does for Lois and world building. But I kind of leave with still like, I need to see Clark. I need to see Cal. I need to see that like lead figure kind of built up. And it's a little different than what we've seen in Batman and Wonder Woman. Those are very clearly led by their heroes. We know Bruce leads Absolute Batman. Diana leads Absolute Wonder Woman. You know who those characters are. I still don't really have that for Superman yet. But the world itself is so good, and everything else that's being built around it. That's to me what like the strength of this book is. But that's just me. I could be off base.
That is such a good point. Like that is such a good point. And I totally agree. Absolute Superman was actually my favorite out of the three, but it was during all of the, Krypton storytelling with his parents and, the environment falling apart and all of that stuff that I just I'm not really into what's currently happening. And I wish that it was just all the origin story of like small little Superman. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think Aaron's keeping a lot of plates spinning right now, and we're getting into to the danger of that Peach Ultimate X-Men thing where things are beginning to unfold too slowly. It was really good in the beginning. We were getting this awesome balance between past and present. So like the past was informing who this superpowered person was in the present. So we didn't need to spend time in the present, but like we're beginning to run out of that space. Right. When I opened this issue, I was like, oh man, because whenever you're doing Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns with the panels, the single panels and interviews, to get that world's perspective, like that's risky. You have to really pull that off and have like a good thematic point to make people read through all these kind of like panels. And I don't think there's ever been a comic that's ever going to do it better than Dark Knight Returns did by framing like 80s consumerism, media obsession, Cold War mentality, all of that. But this was a good issue for Lois. I mean, you're absolutely right. Each one of these issues is a book worth the cover price. Like it really is. It's an experience. It's a movie. It's an episode. It's everything you want. However, at the same time, I think Matt hit the nail on the head about, and Janelle too, like about, first of all, the past and Krypton and shaping that story and finishing that off is, I think, clearly the more important angle of that, because then we need to know that's going to inform everything about who this Kal-El walking around Earth now is, why he feels the way he feels, how he misses his parents, how, all of that, how does he see this new world? We need that single issue that is all about him. That is like, yeah, when he first came to Earth, what the hell was that like? How did he view the world? How does he view it now? What changed? All of these questions. Absolute Superman is also the other books are strategically sidestepping larger obligations of the larger Absolute line, which are questions about making us think about what is this world, not just this pocket of the world, but what is this world we're in? Like, what is this Earth where there's Lazarus running around with this much power and peacemakers and Omega Men at war? Because this seems like, war-torn world. Yeah. Like, what the hell is going on in a larger sense? Because it seems like stuff is cool in, the coastal city where Wonder Woman is. Gotham is Gotham. But Gotham hints there's this still international line of espionage and organizations. But how does this all fit together? And Superman is the only one that's kind of stepping into a place where those questions start to pop up in my head, where I'm like, okay, this is a global book. So like, what is this globe? And how does Gotham, Batman, Wonder Woman fit into that? Like, this book is running out of space to dodge those questions. The other two don't right now, because Wonder Woman's either been in hell or in this coastal city dealing with this threat that also informs us about Diana. Batman's in Gotham, and that's all he ever cares about. Yeah, that's it. But this book's running out of room very quickly. It has to be very smart in its next 2 or 3 issues to make me feel like we're not beginning to meander a bit.
Yeah. Oh man, that's an interesting perspective, Damon. I look, as someone who we rave about both Ultimate and Absolute. So they are both kicking it. I will say, I don't think it's close. I think there's 2 really strong Ultimate books out of the couple, and I will leave the Ultimate X-Men slander aside, but I don't like that book. I don't like the book at all. But I will say that, like, I just think the 3 Absolute books have been killer from beginning to end. I just think just in those 3 alone and the amount of issues they've already put out, I mean, we're already approaching right where they're all hitting issue 4s. And I don't think there's been a dud. So, it's hard. I would say the Absolute line to me is doing a superior job at the moment. But Ultimates is great. Ultimate Wolverine kicked. We really liked that first issue.
Ultimate Spider-Man. I think Ultimate Spider-Man continues to single best issue out of all of this. I mean, let me be honest. Yeah. I think out of all of them,
I like parts of Ultimate Black Panther. So
I like Ultimate Black Panther. I like that too. I mean, I think they're both good. I don't need to do this right now. I like all of them. I'm glad I have both of them as alternatives to both main lines right now.
Very true.
I love both main lines, but I like these alternatives. I think they're good jumping on points.
Look at you. Look at you not diving into the spice.
Good for you. Man. I need both. I like to be well-rounded right now. Oh man.
I did want to mention quickly.
Go ahead. Go off with your agenda.
Well, if you're not reading Scarlet Witch, speaking of Marvel, Scarlet Witch is doing some great stuff over there. If you're a fan of magic and you're a fan of what they're kind of building over there, that series is from a writing and an art perspective, just awesome. Every single month. I have really dug it. Black Cat is jumped into the latest one, and they're really again spinning that into like another big, even their like kind of side issues, like the ones that don't really jump into the main story, like they did last month with a Jack Frost story. Again, killer. Like they're doing some great stuff. So like I feel like Scarlet Witch can get a little overlooked, but you should check it out, especially if you're a fan of the magic side of Marvel. Also, Birds of Prey continues to be one of the best books DC puts out on a regular basis.
Barda and the Bat need a side quest. I need a Barda and
they
a Bat
really
side
do.
Quest.
If there was a built-in TV show to create from that, like someone put Barda and Batgirl in a TV show, in a whatever. I just need a series of web shorts. I don't know what it is, but like they demand to be
Animated shorts of them would be great. Like, kind of just
Right?
quick animated shorts of them, like with only Barta talking, like would be amazing.
Because they're just playing video games half this issue, and it doesn't matter. It's great. And then they go off on their own little adventure with John Constantine of all people. And then you have the Black Canary Sin stuff that's happening on the side. And then half the team's not even there. Like they're doing that book is so good consistently each and every month. Yes. Barta and the Little Bat. Please make that happen.
That'd be a great thing. Also, we got to shout out. It is Black History Month, so I am going to shout out that Ultimates issue. This Luke Cage had a big week this week in Marvel. There's 2 good Luke Cage stories. Timeless is one of them, where Luke Cage is basically super god and goes trying to go back in time to avert a disaster. That's really good. But the Ultimates issue and Ultimate Luke Cage and the origin of that character and what that issue did, that was a whole movie. Ultimates is a great book, and that was a great issue. It takes Luke Cage and remixes the Power Man origin into something that is kind of really powerful and kind of profound. And man, Luke Cage is crazy, and this was a crazy issue. So shout out to Luke Cage.
Yeah, must read. That is a fantastic issue. So I was not here last week because it was Rumble time. It was Royal Rumble time here in Indy. And so I was getting the chance to talk to some superstars before the big event. Look, Royal Rumble is to me, the most fun WWE event of the year. It's not the biggest, obviously, because WrestleMania is essentially wrestling Super Bowl, but Royal Rumble, you get 30 different people, both in the men's division and the women's division, showing up throughout the match, and you never know who's going to pop up, and you always get surprises, legends, celebrities, big returns, all of that. And to me, it has been a running thing where the women's Royal Rumble match has, I think, for the past 5-6 years running, has always been leagues better than the men's Rumble match. It just always kills it, and they always lead with it. So it sets the bar first thing of the night, and then you're always looking at the men's match to deliver, and rarely does it. I will say they did deliver in terms of shock. There was some big surprises in the men's Rumble and some great moments. But once again, the women's Royal Rumble match holds the crown. Not only was it just great from beginning to end, but we had big returns. Alexa Bliss finally, after 2 years away, makes a return at the Rumble match, even with a Bray Wyatt tribute jacket, and what looks to be maybe her kind of moving over to SmackDown into the White Six, if recent reports are to be believed. The one downside, not downside, just the one super predictable note was that the winner of the Royal Rumble match for the women was Charlotte Flair, who was also making her big return. It's a running joke in wrestling circles that if Charlotte Flair is in a match, she will probably win it, and she will probably make her way towards holding a title at some point. And people did that, and she did win. So that's not, we'll see how that goes. However, the match, I got to talk to Tiffany Stratton during the Rumble, and we did talk about possibly her facing Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. So, that is a match I would love to see. That's a match that Tiffany herself has talked about wanting. So I'm up for that. That's probably going to be a banger. It's just as far as winning the match, it was a little predictable. But I will say what wasn't predictable was Roxanne Perez from NXT having one of the best showings of the night, making it to the final 2. Just phenomenal. Great showing for her. And then, yes, as mentioned in the comments, Nikki Bella making her long return, long-awaited return to WWE. Debuted at number 30, killed it. The pop was great. Evidently, reports are saying also that she's selling quite a bit of merch. And so, a return, maybe an actual, her doing a feud or a program is possible. And so happy for that. I'm
Bella juice. Oh, that sounded gross. I didn't mean to say it that way. That Bella hype is still really, really strong.
Yes, she came out and the pop was there, right? And so that's what you look for, right? Also, I will say,
John Cena does a Homer Simpson into the bushes.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna hold my fellow Indianians. Is that how you say it? I don't know how you say that. I'm gonna hold them a little accountable, because I will say throughout the night, both in the men and the women's matches, the pops were substandard. The crowd let a couple people out there, just left them to dry. Like, there were some zero pops. It was kind of hard to watch sometimes. They were cruel to and they were cruel to like people I love. Raquel Rodriguez, The Miz got zero. That's wrong.
I hate that.
That's
Out
wrong.
of the what?
Show up. Come on, indie crowd. Yeah, let's get it. Like, come on. You gotta have the pop there. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
anyway, yes.
Sucks.
The men's rumble, though, also had some great moments. That thing was stacked. You mentioned Cena. Obviously, the crowd lost their minds when Cena came in. The biggest thing with the men's rumble was that the numbers were all over the place. No one was able to predict where people would come in. Like, everyone had those, okay, well, this person probably going to be number 1. This person going to be number 30. We're probably working with this angle. Nah, like almost everybody showed up when you least expected it. Roman Reigns showed up at 15. No one saw that coming. But then at one point, Punk, Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cena, and of course Logan Paul were all in the match, which he got the heaviest boos of the night. And Logan managed to eliminate some favorites. He eliminated Punk, which did not go over well with the crowd. Though Punk eliminated Reigns and Rollins and set up a big WrestleMania, what we think is WrestleMania triple threat between all of them. The winner of the last two of the match were John Cena and Jey Uso, which no one saw happening. And amazingly, no one also saw that Jey Uso would win. So Jey Uso is your Royal Rumble winner, which is that's amazing. People were heartbroken that Cena didn't win. But like, what a moment. What a shocking moment. Like, that is the way that it ended. You almost thought Jay like accidentally did something wrong, because he was just like, you could read what he was saying when the camera was up there, but he was just shocked and excited, right? So yeah, gonna be big. Elimination Chamber, John Cena is already slated for that, so he's gonna try and get his WrestleMania moment that way. But yeah, big night. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens almost killed each other with a bunch of ladders. If you saw those gnarly ladder spots. And then there was a tag team match that saw DIY retain, which was had the Street Profits going heel. So big night for wrestling. I hope everyone had fun. We had fun watching it from there. Lots more coverage coming from that, interviews and things. You can also check out some of the interviews right now on our Comic Book Nation YouTube page. The other thing we had a chance to test out was WWE 2K25, which we got to work with about 23 playable superstars of the what is probably going to be like a 300-person roster. We got to test out kind of the normal like one-on-one triple threat Royal Rumble matches. We got to test out the new Brawl style match, which is that it's a carryover from last year, but they have new arenas, including the NXT parking lot. We got to test out some of the new features. There is more to come from that event, probably this weekend at some point. So keep an eye out on Comic Book for that. And so, yeah, we were able to run through some of the updated mechanics. One of the biggest changes this year is, well, number one, actually, in a lot of the entrances, you can see that the graphics have gotten a welcome upgrade, especially in like the tattoos and stuff. Like the level of detail is kind of insane. Like if you're looking at The Rock right now on the video feed, some of the other like heavily tattooed superstars look amazing, and they're just like they just pop. The lighting and everything that they're doing is pretty impressive. But also like there's intergender wrestling now, after like I think the last time anyone could actually do that in a WWE video game was like in 2015, 2014. So like it's been a long time since that's actually been possible in the game. And I gotta say, I didn't think I would care that much about that feature. And then, I played a couple matches, had Rhea Ripley smack around The Rock a little bit, and it's pretty dope. Not gonna lie, I was taking all of my my Cody Crybaby issues that I had with Rock when he returned. I was taking him out in a I feel like a therapeutic manner. So it was awesome. It was nice to deliver a Riptide to The Rock. What can I say? It's fun. I really dig that though. You can also do it across all of the modes. So like you can bring in your created superstars, mix and match. I was a big fan of the mix match challenge back in the day. So the fact that you can bring that back is huge. Chain wrestling is back as well. There's also like blood has been implemented into the women's matches. So you were able to do that with the men, but now you can do that with the women as well. So we're starting to see a lot more like synergy across the board. Like if you can do something in the men's division in the game, you can now do it in the women's division, which is great. We also got to test out the showcase mode, which is all about the bloodline this year. Roman Reigns. If you've been a fan of the Bloodline saga, which I have been, one of my favorite WWE stories of all time, that is going to be all over this game. So I left with like, we haven't been able to test out like some of the big new things like the island. We weren't able to test that out yet. We weren't able to kind of dig into My GM or My Rise. Those have new features and things yet. Universe has new stuff. So still waiting to kind of get a bigger idea of how ambitious the game is, but just from this early playthrough, the gameplay is as sound as it has been the last few years. They've been building on a great foundation there, and I like the new little additives. So this could be a great entry. I just want to obviously get a better picture of all of the features, but from this early slice, it's good.
Yay.
Yes, they are bringing back promos in universe mode. That is one of the other things. I really want to test that out. Also, yes,
boys.
That was the other thing I wanted to mention. Thank you, Hero, for bringing that up. Lyra, yes, Lyra Valkyria is on the main roster right off the bat. She's not DLC. I will say, like, getting a look at NXT superstars, they did such a good job of bringing them into the game for the first time. Ethan Page, Sol Ruka, Kalani Jordan, they're all in the main roster right off the bat. I'm hoping like Jada Parker's in here. We know Lola Vice is in here from the early thing. So Obafemi, I cannot wait to test him out. I hope he's in the game. The other big question, obviously, is Penta, who just debuted. I think it's way too soon. He just debuted literally last month. I don't think there's enough time to get him into this game. Maybe he makes the final DLC, like Jade did last year and things like that. But like that's asking a lot. We might need to wait till 2026 for him.
All right, is that your cue?
That's my cue, man. We're good.
You did the thing. All right, we did it. We did the things. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This has been another episode of Comic Book Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of comicbook.com, where you can find me and Matt's work, as always, on the site with the rest of the comic book team. You can always catch Janelle in her streams. She is out here doing her thing on the Twitches, so keep up with her, and she'll talk a lot more media and other fun stuff with you guys. And you can subscribe to us on all major podcast platforms. You can subscribe to the Comic Book Nation YouTube page. And when we get back next week, the year really begins. Oh, wait, it'll be Valentine's Day. Yeah, and Captain America Brave New World will be here. So we're going to get in the thick of it. So get ready for that. It's about to go off. Here we go. Talk to you guys next week. Have a good week. Everybody stay safe, have fun, and enjoy something in this great geeky world of ours. Comic Book Nation, we're out of here. Peace.
Bye.